Usually, okay, so full transparency, recording has actually just now started, so if you've been here listening, welcome.
Hey guys, welcome back to the series. I've got 2 videos out on futures already. One about how to connect your prop firm to TradingView if you can get an account through Tradeovate. And the second one is what prop firm do I actually start with. So if you'd like some insight on that, go back to some of my previous videos on this and I go into detail about that. This video should probably be a little shorter. So let's go straight into it. Today we're going to talk about what a futures contract is. I guarantee you some of you guys have been trading on the futures market and have no idea what a futures contract is. And it's not very different than what an option contract is. An option contract for a stock or an ETF. So if you're going to trade options on SPY, you can do the same pattern and follow the same chart layout as you can if you were to trade the ES, which is the futures contract. So what's the big difference between your option contract and your futures contract, right? So let's break down a little bit some of the pieces, right? So when you're trading an options contract, you're going to have to know what the delta, the gamma, the theta is. That's how you make money, how fast you can double your money, how quick you can lose your money if it takes too long to move. And you are in charge of picking the expiration date on those options contracts, right? So all of those things combined together, you have to know how that moves and what to expect from that options contract in order for you to make any money off of that, really, without just kind of getting lucky, to be quite honest with you. Futures contracts work very similar in structure, but trade completely different. So here's how you can kind of think of a futures contract. Futures contract, when you're trading units of a futures contract, it is very much the same concept as an options contract. People use it to hedge against movement in the market on specific securities or specific just commodities. Like if someone were trading against ES, you could sell a unit of ES against what the S&P 500 might be doing, right? But instead of picking an expiration date and having to know what the theta is going to do and the delta and the gamma and all the Greeks and all the wonderful things you have to know when you're actually trading an options contract, that expiration date is already chosen for you. So in an option, you're going to pick the contracts you want to trade. In the futures market, you are going to trade on a contract with everyone else. There is one contract that is open at one time and everybody trades units of that one contract. So if you thought of it this way, every single time a futures contract expires and reopens a new contract, it's like starting a whole new stock. So in the stock, you have like the company and its base structure, the share structure, and it trades and trades either until the company goes back private or maybe goes bankrupt and the company closes down, right? So if you could imagine that, the futures contract is basically a company that opens up every so often and then closes back down and restarts itself, but you know exactly when it's going to happen. There's no getting caught in this turnover, basically. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how you can watch this and how you can move forward. Now, if you're on a platform like Tradeovate, it's going to go ahead and remind you like, hey, we're updating these contracts. These contracts are rolling over. These contracts are no longer retraded. And they'll automatically just give you a little window when you open up your thing and say, hey, we're doing this. And you click OK and it's done. If you're in TradingView, you can do the 1 exclamation point. And I'll show you what that looks like as well. And that's a continuous chart. So they'll probably still give you an update as far as when it's going to happen, but the chart will immediately roll over and just make sure you get filled on whichever one has the most volume at the time. So it's actually pretty easy to kind of keep up with here. So while you're trading these units of the futures contract, these units are basically traded just like shares, except they are leveraged like an option. So basically, if an option and a stock had a baby, it would be a futures contract. It'd be fantastic. You get to trade the extra leverage like you do with an option, and that goes both ways, though. That's to the positive and to the negative. But you also get the stability of what a stock would typically trade at. So you get to get in at a price, you place your stop loss on the actual chart or your take profit on the actual chart. You know exactly how much money you're risking and exactly how much money you can earn before you get into that, making it a much more stable platform for earning than an options contract would be, unless you're just really, really good at those options contracts. So let's talk a little bit about how I find the contracts that I like to trade. And I'm just gonna be honest, I trade NQ right now. I'm looking at ES a lot because ES tends to move just a little more stable than NQ does right now. And if you're wondering what the heck is NQ and ES, Philip, ES is the futures contract that trades alongside of the S&P 500. Same as the SPY, the SPY ETF, it trades along with the S&P 500 or SPX. And NQ trades along with the NASDAQ. So in ETF terms, that would be QQQ. So QQQ and NQ both trade alongside the NASDAQ and its value. If you're looking for different things to trade, I can go ahead and tell you that ES and NQ both expire a contract and start the new contract every quarter. So every 3 months, right? So if you'll have one that starts in December, that'll be the March contract. And when March expires, it'll roll over to the June contract. And when June expires, it'll roll over to the September contract. September expires, it'll roll over to the December contract. And then around the year it goes again. Some of them do not trade like that. Some of them will trade differently. So I'm going to show you this really cool website that I really love watching. It is going to be cmegroup.com. I'm going to actually leave a link down in the description below so that you can kind of see how to get there. I even left this link specifically, so it's probably going to come up with PAL, but it doesn't matter because you can put anything you want to in here, because once you get into CME Group, there are a lot of things you can go and look at. However, once you get to this page particularly, you will probably want to favorite this page. Because here's the cool thing. You can see palladium futures, you can see palm oil, you can see all sorts of different things down here. If you wanted to go look up gold, you can look up gold. And it will say gold, there's option gold futures right there. Let's just use ES because we know what that one is. ES, E-mini S&P futures right here, ES right here. You'll click on the one that says futures. And then once you click on it, it's going to take you to the market data page. Here's the contract specs, right? So US dollars and cents per index point. It gives you the times and the trading hours that it does outright. Here it is, 0.25 index points, which is a quarter of a point, which is what it moves. 125-cent move is a tick on the chart. 4 of those is 1 point, which means 1 point is a dollar move on the futures contract. So 1 tick is going to be $12.50. 4 of those is going to be $50. $50 per point, that's what trades on the ES. Okay, so now let's walk through. We can go from specs over to quotes, and here are the contracts. So here we go. Here is the June contract. We are coming up on the close of it here in the next few weeks, but you can see where all the volume is right now, and you can tell that that September contract is already up and running. It is not with no volume at all, but it doesn't have volume worth trading. But you will see here in the next few weeks, as soon as we get close to this date expiring, you'll see the volume start to shift. It'll go from here to here, and for about a week, it'll be split between the two of them. And then as soon as that contract ends, all the volume will end up here, and we'll trade here until September. And then once September gets here and this one closes, you'll see the same shift from September to December right here. So let's talk a little bit about what you should be trading. I want to move it right back over here to my chart. Here are the few things that I think that would be good for you to look at. ES is obviously a really good one. NQ is also a fantastic one. If that one just moves a little too much for you, because we were talking earlier, it's $12.50 a tick on the ES, which means it's $50 a point. That could be a lot of money for you if you're just starting off, especially if you're in a prop firm and you're trying to make sure that you're trading small and mitigating your risk. You can go up here to the MES and you can see the prices are exactly the same. 5938, 5937 3/4 right here because it just dropped a little bit. 5938. So MES is the micro. You have ES, which is the mini, E-mini futures, and you have MES, which is the micro E-mini. Right. So the reason why we're trading minis, mini is the full size, but that is a unit of that entire contract that we were talking about earlier. So this unit would be like a share of the contract, which would be that stock that's rolling over. So once you get to here, you can do NQ, which is $20 a point, MNQ, which is going to be $2 a point. So any micro is going to be 1/10 of its original, right? So ES is $50 a point, MES is $5 a point. So much easier to kind of move through. You also have a few more down here that you might want to look at and just kind of keep on your radar. There is the Russell 2000 and its micro. There aren't too many of them that have a micro that has a different name completely, but this is one of them. So the Russell is RTY. Micro Russell is M2K. And you can see that one exclamation point up there again. So this is that continuous chart. I don't have to worry about rolling those over. And then you have the Dow and the micro Dow. You've got gold and micro gold down here. You've got silver. Silver's the other one, silver, and then micro silver down here. So, and then crude oil and then micro crude oil. So there's lots of things that you can be trading in the futures market. However, I suggest that if you want to trade anything different than ES or NQ, you just go over here, go back a couple of pages, make sure you go to that initial thing. And if you want to trade corn, look up corn, get the details of it, make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into. And it's going to show you the quotes. It's going to show you all the information that you need to on this. And so just be aware that everything's going to trade a little differently because everything's a different asset. Not everything's going to trade like ES or NQ. So you could be running into some things that you're not aware of. So always make sure you look up the information on that website that I'm giving you. And if you have any questions, make sure that you're reaching out inside of the Discord. Speaking of, if you're watching this video and you're not inside the Discord yet, come check out It's Mike Porch server on Discord. There's a link down below. There's also a link for his text message alerts, which he sends out every single morning, Monday through Friday. Only sends the grade A setups. And in fact, we just had a banger this morning that ran almost 200%. So if you want those messages sent directly to your phone, you can click the link down below and sign up for that immediately. That also gives you extra scanners inside of the Discord that no one else has access to. But if you want to just come to check out the Discord first, of course, it's always free to come and look and see what we do in there. Also, if you haven't decided which futures prop firm you want to use and you want to check out Apex, there is a link and a coupon down below in that box as well. That will give you the best deal they have going on at any moment. And join us live at 8:30 a.m. Eastern every single morning. Feel free to check it out, and we'll see you in the Discord.